It's the first round of the ADAC GT Masters for season 2017. Race 1 about to get underway on the Oschersleben circuit of some 3.696 kilometers with 14 turns, 7 left and 7 right. And it's an all Porsche front row. As we saw there, Christopher Mies, and there is Connor De Filippi. Final preparations as these cars are about to grid up. The qualification session this morning was cut short by 1.5 minutes as Patrick Assenheimer found himself in the gravel. Christopher Haas and Jeffrey Schmidt in the Monteplas by Land Motorsport Audi then. Jeffrey Schmidt, former Carrera Cup racer, of course. Now, tomorrow, the ADAC GT Masters will reach a special milestone. As Marcus Winkelhock to the very right of the picture there. As it will stage its 150th race tomorrow. Winners of the race here last year, Sebastian Asch and Luca Ludwig won race 1. Race 2 was run by Rolf Nijken and Christian Engelhardt in Lamborghini Huracan. And of course, just last weekend, Christian Engelhardt and Mirko Bortolotti in the Blancpain GT with Grasser Racing Team at Monza. The number 99 Porsche that we look at there of Sven Muller and Robert Renau. There indeed is Sven Muller. Robert Renau driving duties in the first stint of the race, going from P7 on the grid for the Preco liveried Porsche. Absolutely great looking car there for Renau and Muller. So an all Porsche front row for this race 1. KUS Team 75 Bernhard and Schutzer Motorsport will be on P2. Focus there on Robert Renau. And there, all the cars lined up for various photographs that have gone on. The race duration, as you can see, 57 minutes on the clock that's on the gantry here at the Motorsport Arena, Oschersleben. And, well, all thoughts towards season 2017. What a dramatic finale it was to season 2016. You will recall, I'm sure, that horrible crash into the barriers for Jules Gounon. And pleasingly, Jules Gounon just a few weeks later was back in a car again. And they're here to contest the ADAC GT Masters once again for 2017. Now, during the test for the ADAC GT Masters, the 2 days testing, it was the Preco Herbert Motorsport Porsche that was the quickest of all of the cars. Some 30 cars took part in testing. And there's going to be 8 former champions on the grid. Christopher Mies and Connor De Filippi, who we've already seen. We also saw Christopher Haas. Also Kelvin van der Linde. And Sebastian Asch, Luca Ludwig. And former DTM star Maximilian Goertz. Of course, he's back in the ADAC GT Masters. Daniel Karvitz, as we mentioned earlier. What a fantastic shot this is, as all the drivers and cars. Yeah, Luca Ludwig, as you can see, new in this year, the BMW of Philip Eng and young Ricky Collard, son of British touring car racer Rob Collard and grandson of the late Mick Collard, a national hot rod superstar who sadly passed away just a few months ago. Ricky Collard, a real talent to keep an eye on, and they'll be going from P10 on the grid for Ricky Collard and Philip Eng. Philip Eng, of course, former champion in Carrera Cup and Super Cup as well, now a BMW driver, and Ricky Collard very much a BMW junior. Maximilian Goertz then teaming up in his return in ADAC GT Masters with Patrick Assenheimer, the very car that ended up in the gravel, as I mentioned, during qualifying this morning, which meant the qualifying series got cut by 1.5 minutes for that car the number 84 Mercedes to be recovered, and some splendid looking cars here for ADAC GT Masters, that's for sure, including that beautiful Lamborghini Huracan of Jonathan Judek and Emil Lindholm, which is run by the ADAC NSA Attento Racing team. Car number 20 then is the Nikolai Rogovu, Nikolai Sylvester Mercedes-Benz, the AMG Zack-Speed Mercedes-Benz. And look at that sight of all these GT cars ready to do battle over the first race of season 2017. So the KUS Team 75 Bernhard Porsche then of Matteo Jaminet and Michael Ammermuller. And alongside will be the number 36 car of Klaus Bachler and Alex McDowell, the British racer, the Big FM racing team Schutzer Porsche 911 GT3R. There we can see the Remo Lips, Patrick Heisman, Nissan, which a small fire in the pit lane yesterday. And the cars all roar into life, ready to grid up, ready for this first race of the ADAC GT Masters for 2017. So I was mentioning the BMW Works driver Philipp Eng and the BMW Junior Ricky Collard. Now, that beautiful BMW M6 is prepared by the Team Schnitzer for the first season, the outfit's first season in ADAC GT Masters. During both the free practice sessions over this weekend, finished P3. Best they could do during qualifying was P10. And that's where Ricky Collard will be starting the race from. So the safety car leads the cars away then. And it is the formation lap for the first race of 2017 here in the ADAC GT Masters. All the information at ADAC-GT-Masters.de with full English translation on there as we go on board with Connor Di Filippi. Great sight of this Oschersleben circuit from being on board in the Motoplast by Land Motorsport Audi. Good crowd here for the Saturday. And at the moment, despite the fact that you can see the clouds from through the windscreen of Connor Di Filippi's car, at the moment it's dry, plenty of wind around, it's actually really quite cold. They're the Corvette C7, so nearly victorious last year, but victorious Connor Di Filippi, Christopher Mies then in the number 1 Motoplast by Land Motorsport Audi R8 LMS. Stefan Mucker then and Sebastian Ash drive the number 26 car. Team Mucker Motorsport car. Of course, the Mucker Motorsport name in motorsport is one which is revered. So here comes the grid in full for you then in graphics. Jaminet, Ammermuller, row 1, or P1 with Bachler and McDowell, P2. Then it's Gunon and Marcus Pommer occupying the next row of the grid. Row 3 finds Connor Di Filippi and Jeffrey Schmitz. Then we find on row 4, Robert Renau and Luca Stoltz. Before we go to P9 and P10, where we find Ricky Collard and Sven Bart, teaming up this year with Maximilian Hacklander. Then on row 6 of the grid, it's Dennis Marshall with Patrick Niederhauser and Hooker and Ash then in the Mercedes going from P12. Then it's Robin Eichen and Christian Engelhardt with Mike Ortman and Frank Stippler going from P14. Salaquada with Winkelhock this year and Indy Doncha on the next row of the grid. Ezequiel Perez Compank and Mapelli go on row 9. Ezequiel Perez Compank and Bortolotti, of course, racing last weekend, as I mentioned. Row 10 is Assenheimer and Friedrich. And then row 11 is Philip Geipel and Rahul Frey with Elliot Earhart and Hoa as well, going from P22. Florian Spengler and Michaela Arlin Kotolinski on the next row of the grid, which is row 12. Row 13, Dennis Bush. And then it's Judek going from P26. Remo Lips and Nikolai Rogevu on row 14, P27 and P28. Completing the grid then, and the cars forming up behind the safety car now, ready to head into the first race of 2017 here, as is traditional at the Oschersleben circuit. A phenomenal sight and a phenomenal sound as the cars will roar past the start-finish line heading into turn number 1, the hotel turn, which, as we know from years gone by, is very much a pinpoint. Mikael Ammermuller that we could just see there in that picture as he looked on at the start of this race. So safety car peels off. It's the responsibility of the front row of the grid, Jaminet and Backler, then to control the pace of this rolling lap as they round at turn number 14, the Zeppelin turn, and head towards the timing line. We await the lights to go green. And they do, so the first race of season 2017 is underway. Already the Corvette is trying to make up space, and so too the Audi around the outside here as they go into the hotel turn. As I mentioned, it's a real pinch point, but it's P1 and P2 go the way of Porsche as they go through. Thankfully, all the cars through that pinch point of hotel turn number 1 go through satisfactorily with no problem at all. And it was the Corvette that was just squeezed out onto the grass there on the exit of that turn. Has managed to keep it all together and stay in there, running down now in P5 though for Jules Gounon, who is the car just ahead of Connor De Filippi that we went on board with momentarily. And a change for P2 then, as the Jaminet car is down now to P3. So already some changes in the very early stages of this race. Better start from Klaus Backler right at the start of the race. There is Ricky Collard then in the number 42 BMW M6. And challenging now, you can see the car of Jules Gounon. Squeezed out on the grass just earlier on in the lap as cars make their way through, with first lap about to be completed, and the race leader then crosses the timing line. Klaus Backler leads from Marcus Pommer in P2. Jaminet is P3. Then running in P4 is Jeffrey Schmidt with Jules Gounon P5. Connor De Filippi is P6. Stoltz is P7. Renauer is P8. And then P9 is the number 13 car of Sven Bart. So Ricky Collard, who we saw in the BMW M6, down a number of places, running down there in P16. One of the big losers, and also a big loser now is the number 18 car of Christopher Friedrich, out and parked up on the grass there. Huge lead for Klaus Backler, margin of some 2.4 seconds. So on board with Jaminet now. Safety car is being called for, incidentally. And there the Marcus Pommer Audi and Jaminet and Pommer getting very much together there. And Jaminet getting that P2 place. So race will be brought under the control of the safety car then, because of this Porsche GT3R, which is out on the grass, as you can see, and in a position where it's got to be recovered, and damage to the left-hand side, as you can see, including very much a punctured tyre. So safety car waits to pick up the leaders, and it's back to being Porsche P1 and P2, although it's Klaus Backler that leads from Jaminet now in P2. And Marcus Pommer in P3, and in P4, Jeffrey Schmidt in the Monoplast by Land Motorsport Audi R8 LMS. So safety car does pick the cars up in the early stages of this race. Driver change comes between 25 and 35 minutes into the race. And a recovery team will be on that car as quickly as they can be now. This was the very start. And there you can see it wasn't the very start. That was actually where Jaminet got that position 2 from Marcus Pommer. And it was on the hotel turn there that we saw that KUS Team 75 Bernhard Porsche end up on the gravel and the grass, and that is being recovered now. And well, there's every possibility that if that recovery goes well and it's easy access from there, that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. And we can go back to racing, which will be good news indeed. And there in the Land Motorsport garage, including Wolfgang Land, everyone looks on. So when we pick up the safety car, it'll be interesting to see if the lights are out. I think it's going to do one more lap because it's at turn 14 now. Here now is a replay of the start, and as you can see, a phenomenal start from Bachler, which put his Porsche in P1. Jules Gounon was also seemingly making a good start, then got very much bogged down in the hotel turn. It was where Jeffrey Schmidt was able to make his move. Jeffrey Schmidt running in P4. You can see from looking back then, as they rounded turn 14 and headed for the start of the race. Bachler got a fantastic start. We're on board with our Team 75 Bernhard Porsche, and there Bachler with a clean pair of heels into the hotel turn number 1. So safety car is going to come in at the conclusion of this lap, and we can go back to racing. So Bachler, Jaminet, Pommer, Schmidt, Gounon, De Filippi. Then running in P7 is Lucas Stoltz. Then it's Renauer, Bar, and running in P10 is the number 26 car of Stefan Mucker and Sebastian Asch. So power being applied by Matteo Jaminet then in that Porsche as we were on board. And now it's the responsibility of Klaus Bachler then to control the pace of this restart. Jaminet will be trying to anticipate when. Bachler is going to nail it and put the foot to the floor and try and keep with him. And Bachler does that now as they head towards turn number 14. P1 and P2 really leaving Marcus Pommer a little bit. Pommer's going to be under pressure from Jeffrey Schmidt and also under pressure from Jules Gounon. It's P3, 4 and 5 as they head towards the hotel turn. Then P1 and P2, we know where that's at. Anyone going to have a brave dive up the inside? No, they don't. Now, who's going to be able to keep the tight line around the inside of that turn? No movement there. Who's that off into the gravel? Try and pick that Audi up. Lost a huge amount of places. So then it's as we were. Marcus Pommer with a whole train of cars behind him running in P3. Oh, complete out to the outside on the grass, then onto the gravel. Tarmac not able to quite turn it in time to get it back onto the tarmac. So the order on the left-hand side of the screen then for you. As they head down towards the hotel turn once again. Let's go on board. We're looking at the back end of the Jules Gounon car. To the outside, it's a long way round, but it gives them the inside for the net. Not quite able to make it work. On board with Conor De Filippi, we were just for a moment. Lights being flashed furiously by Jules Gounon. Oh, and a big tap there, which just knocks Gounon off for a moment, but he's able to recover, and no advantage gained in the end. But look at the Mercedes-Benz now flying right into the mix here. So Lucas Stoltz then, that very car, as out goes the number 77 car of Jules Gounon. So Gounon out then. We saw the first impact on Jules Gounon. Now I wonder if that perhaps caused something to break underneath that number 77 car, but the safety car is called for once again because Jules Gounon, who had such a terrible end to the season in 2016, well, the start of 2017 not going terribly well either. So safety car called for yet again. There's Daniel Kalvitz, who looks on. Can almost sense the frustration. So Jules Gounon out of the car. You can see, look, there's absolutely no rubber on that wheel at all. And here a replay. So up the inside now, Bosch, and there was the contact. And at that stage, the tyre deflating, Gounon doing his level best to try and control the car whilst consistently, well, you could see it just let go then. You could just see the smoke come off the tyre. Well, inevitably, that was caused by that contact initially. Now, whether anyone will say that it was a fair overtake move in the moment of the contact or not, and there Gounon spins, you see, and is out. Race done and dusted. How frustrating for them. So the Corvette out, and Jules Gounon then walks away. Abject disappointment, of course. And that's when the tyre let go and just ended up in the gravel. That was around turn 7. So the end of the race. So safety car continues to lead them around then. Second safety car period in the early stages of this race. 45 of the 57 minutes left, as you can see. So the order now is Bacler Jaminet, then it's Marcus Pommer, Jeffrey Schmidt, Conor De Filippi, then it's Lucas Stoltz, then it's Sven Bach, then it's Renault, who's running in P8. In P9 is Stefan Mucker, and P10 is Rolf van Nijken in the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini Huracan. So that the top 10. On the screen regarding that Jules Gounon and the contact, and whether it was deemed just to be a racing incident which real consequences, of course, for the Jules Gounon car. So on board then with Matteo Jaminet as we look at the back end of the Klaus Bacler car, which is leading. No indication yet when the safety car is coming in, certainly not on screen, and the lights, when last we saw the safety car, as you can see, lights still flashing atop because the Gounon car has got to be recovered, and that was fairly embedded into the gravel around that turn number 7. So second time of asking for the safety car to be out as they cross the sector 2 line, which is the white line right at the top of the screen that you can see. At the end of sector 2 and into sector 3. And that's when the tyre let go. And Jules Gounon able to do little about that. Car spun and ended up in the gravel. That's when it let go, following the contact from earlier on. And there was the contact, which started the deflation process, if you like, in the number 77 car. Where it finally went. And there is one very disappointed Jules Gounon, making his frustration known to what in his opinion was the aggressor of that race retirement. Words in the pit lane a little bit later on. Well, in 41 minutes, I would say. If not before, of course, because the cars will be in for the driver change. Here we can see it once again. Right, lights are out on the safety car, and as you can see from the indicator on your screen, the safety car is coming in this lap. So for the second time of asking, Klaus Bachler is going to back them all up, hopefully. But Matteo Jaminet stayed with him last time around, and looks like he's going to do the same this time around. And Marcus Pommer even closer to them at this restart than he was last time around. So as they head towards the greens, and racing can resume once again as we head towards the hotel turn number 1 here at the Oschersleben circuit. It is the first race of the ADAC GT Masters for 2017. So Jeffrey Schmidt and Connor Di Filippi in a real battle going on for P4. Inter-team battle between the Montplas Berlin Motorsport Audis. And then right behind them is Lucas Stoltz in the number 21 Mercedes. So then, cars make their way on this first lap following the second safety car intervention that we've seen. Just saw the Rolf and Nyken Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini Huracan just at the back of the picture. There it is again. Also the BMW M6 making its debut in the ADAC GT Masters this weekend here in Oschersleben as well, being run by Schnitzer Motorsport team. So just under 5 minutes away from the pit window opening for driver changes. Time seems to have gone very, very quickly. The race, of course, punctuated thus far by 2 safety cars, but look at the pace these Porsches have got, because Bachler has got 3/10 over Jaminet, who in turn is a further 7/10 up the road from Marcus Pommer. So they're really breaking away in P1 and P2, as you can see, and then there's a whole train of cars lined up behind Pommer. Comes another Corvette now, running in P7, the Sven Bart machine, with a brilliant overtake around the Mercedes-Benz of Lucas Stoltz. Perfect overtaking maneuver there from the Corvette, so he moves up a place. A great overtake from Sven Bart in the number 13 car. New car for this season, been running the Corvette Z06 and now into the 07, and there it is ahead of the Mercedes-Benz. Further down the order, plenty of jostling going on. But out front, it's Bachler and Jaminet, and here they are through the chicane, breaking away from P3, 4, 5, 6. P6 now being held by that Sven Bart Corvette. One Corvette, of course, we've seen out into the gravel, that of Jules Gounon. Christopher Hoer and Elia Earhart's Audi Sport Racing Academy Audi R8 LMS running down there in P19. Whoa, and that was a very brave and bold and ambitious move, which has caused damage to not only the Mercedes-Benz, but also to the Audi as well. And that out is Dennis Marshall and Patrick Niederhauser's car. Dennis Marshall at the wheel of that car. I was just looking at the timing screen when that incident between the 84 Mercedes-Benz and also the Audi happened. Doubtless we'll get a replay of that. Here it comes. So up the inside, battling over P17 there. And out into the grass goes the Mercedes, and the Audi is pirouetting around. Luckily not collected by anyone. However, there was then jostling there, and that was all really as a result of that incident. And just in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately, for the car of Dennis Marshall and Patrick Niederhauser. In then comes the... as we see that Jaminet puts the fastest lap, in comes the car of Philippe Geipel and Rahal Frey. Philippe Geipel at the wheel, and Philippe Geipel took that dive up the inside against the number 84 Mercedes-Benz. It's being driven by Patrick Assenheimer. Maximilian Goertz, of course, will have been in the garage watching that, and so Geipel going to come out just ahead of the leaders under investigation. The number 50 car of Philippe Geipel for that move there, as I said, just out ahead of the leaders now. Klaus Bachler leading the race, but Jaminet, as I mentioned, just set the fastest lap in the race so far. In truth, we haven't had that many racing laps, certainly not as many as we should have had. There's been 2 safety car interventions. Thought for a moment there might be a third, but thankfully we got away without that. See at the back of that pack the BMW of Ricky Collard now up to P13, having got past Mike Ortman in the number 25 car. So on board with Muka now. BWT Muka Motorsport Mercedes. Some great onboard shots that we can bring you here in ADAC GT Masters. Running down there in P9 at the moment. See the indicator, the LED indicator on the left-hand side of the screen as you look at it, indicates what position that particular car is holding. And we are, just 10 seconds away from the pit window opening for anyone that wants to come in and make the driver change. 10-minute window of opportunity to so do. Bachler and Jaminet have got past what is now effectively the back marking Philippe Geipel Audi. And they're continuing that battle. P4 and P5 is Jeffrey Schmidt and Conor Di Filippi, and it's Conor Di Filippi's Monteplasma by Land Motorsport Audi that we go on board with right now. Heavy braking then, as Jeffrey Schmidt just got the back end loose a little bit. We can see from that fantastic vantage point up to 205 kilometers per hour before braking for the next turn in 4th gear. The rev counter there you can see down into all the way down into 2nd gear now, very nearly clattering into the back of teammate ahead Jeffrey Schmidt. It's Conor Di Filippi that we're on board with. Accelerating away now, keeping those graphics there for you. And they're up the inside of the Lamborghini Huracan. Change of positions, P16 and P17. The Florian Spengler, Christopher Zanella car, and also the Michaela Arlen-Kodalinski and Ricardo Feller Audi Sport Racing Academy Audi. So P1, P2, Schmidt and Conor De Filippi then, still maintaining P4 and P5. War. Exit from the pit lane and back out onto the track comes it's one of the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini cars. Remind you that car number 50 is under investigation. Still no mention of any penalties thus far. So pit window open. Driver changes can be taken any time now. There's a 10-minute window for those driver changes to occur. In comes the number 48 car of Indy Doncia and Marvin Kirchhofer. Also under investigation now is the number 42 car of Ricky Collard and Philip Eng. Don't know the reason for that, certainly not a reason that we saw on the screen. So there, door closed. Car started up once again and will return out onto track. Counted down and car's back out on track. Number 42 then mentioned that was under investigation, no further action to be taken for car number 42. Whatever the incident was, no further action. And there you can see the number 42 car just rounding the hotel turn. Conor De Filippi then is one of those drivers that's come in. In fact, he's the first driver of the first batch, if you like, or the race leading batch that has come in for driver change. We're on board with Conor De Filippi now as Christopher Mees then will be diving into that Motoplast by Land Motorsport Audi R8 LMS. And we watch the driver change go on for the champions.
High-speed balance, okay. Okay.
Good to hear all the anecdotes being passed on. Door is closed. Conor De Filippi has done his job, and now over to Christopher Mees for the remaining 31 minutes of this race. Car lights up and is away down the pit lane. So, also in the pits, a number of others. Here's Jaminet then. Backler with a just under a 1 second lead as they go into turn number 1 here. Neither of these two have come in yet. Mikael Ammermuller will be standing by to take over driving duties in the number 17 car. And in the number 36 car standing by will be Alex McDowell, British driver. Still plenty of cloud cover over the Oschersleben circuit, but remains dry, thankfully. And long may that continue. So the order now then is Backler, Jaminet, Pommer, Schmidt, then it's Sven Bart. Bear in mind, those top 5 have not yet come in for their driver change. In, though, is the Luca Stoltz, Luca Ludwig car. Luca Ludwig getting into the car right now. And Nikolai Rogovu and Nikolai Silvestre's car, the Mercedes-Benz there you can see, which is currently running in P9. Right alongside and ahead of the Audi. There's the other mobile liveried Mercedes with Luca Ludwig at the wheel now, heading out. And Rahal Frey will be in that Audi now. Philip Geipel, you'll recall, came in to the pits earlier on, and to the best of our knowledge is still under investigation. And no word of penalty for Philip Geipel yet in the number 50 car. So out comes the Mercedes-Benz then with Luca Ludwig. And in is Jaminet then, Mikael Ammermuller. Very, very experienced Porsche racer, standing by to jump into the car for KUS Team 75 Bernhardt. So we'll watch this driver change then. Tall, bespectacled Mikael Ammermuller then into the car right now. So Sven Bart finds himself P2 now. Klaus Bachler remaining out at the moment. So door is closed, down to Ammermuller now. The remaining 28 minutes of the ADAC GT Masters Race 1 here at Oschersleben. The Porsche is lit up once again. The time is counted down to Michael Ammermuller. Gives it a footfall and heads off down the pit lane now to rejoin the race. And there the car back out onto track. Number 50 Audi that you can see there, of course, is back marking following the earlier drive down the pit lane. What it's done, it's split the two Land Motorsport cars. As in now comes the number 36 car of Klaus Bachler. Alex McDowell then, who will be in the car now. Been told that car number 20, the Nikolai Rogove, Nikolai Silvestre car, is under investigation. So this is critical, where this Porsche is going to come out relative to Christopher Mies in the Audi, which is why we split the screen for you. And we can show you the action as it unfolds here in GT Masters Race 1 of season 2017. So the Schützer Motorsport Porsche has now... Oh! Now that is going to have cost valuable seconds. Charlie Lamb to the very left-hand side of the screen, you can see there, watching on from Schnitzer Motorsport. Drive-through penalty for car number 20 due to a violation of Article 39.2. So Rogovu and Silvestre are going to have a drive-through penalty. Now here comes the Porsche, and it's relative to where the Audi of Christopher Mies is, and it's going to be out ahead of the Audi, I'm sure of it. Can't quite see from behind. Yes, there is the Porsche and there is the Audi. And then a whole gaggle of cars behind. Battle going on between two Mercedes there. And of course the order all muddled up because of the driver changes, but effectively what it does mean is that the number 36 car, now driven by Alex Dowell, has lost out a place. And to my reckoning, there is the Porsche. Battle going on, as I mentioned, between those two Mercedes cars, the BKK Mobil Oil Zack-Speed Mercedes, and then the EWT liveried car. So Ammermuller will lead with car number 36, Alex McDowell, in P2. Now we've also got a drive-through penalty for the Philippe Gaillapel Rahal Frey car, which is following that contact earlier on. And so that car, which is back marking in any event, is going to be given a drive-through penalty. But Rahal Frey allowing the cars through, as you can see. Tempted to say driving like a perfect gentleman. Driving like a perfect lady, of course, Rahal Frey. So then, now the last one in the pit was the number 13 car of Sven Bart and Maximilian Hacklander, as Maximilian Hacklander will be driving the car for the second stint of this race. So the battle between the two Mercedes-Benz cars. Machine of Sebastian Asch and Stefan Muka. And There you can see Mikael Ammermuller with some margin of lead, some 4.2 seconds over the number 36 car, which of course is now being driven by Alex McDowell. These is P3 and into P4 is the Marcus Pommer Kelvin van der Linde car. So the order then, Ammermuller, and then it's McDowell, then it's Mies van der Linde. Then running in P5 is Christopher Haas. P6 is the number 26 car of Sebastian Asch. P7, Luke Stoltz, which is now being driven, of course, by Luca Ludwig. P8 is Sven Muller. P9 is Philip Eng, having taken over driving duties from Ricky Collard. Sorry, Engelhardt is P9 and Philip Eng is P10, so just into the points for the BMW with 22 seconds, 22 minutes rather, of the race remaining, but the seconds are being piled on to that margin between Mikael Ammermuller and to the number 36 car of Alex McDowell. 4.6 seconds the margin between P1 and P2. On board with Christopher Mies then, who's running in P3, who's about a second behind the number 36 car, and then you have Kelvin van der Linde in another Audi. The Aust Motorsport Audi running in P4, hounding the Land Audi ahead. P6 for Asch, P7 then for the number 21 car, driven by Luca Ludwig now. There the order on screen, as you can see. For the graphics in terms of the transponders reading and the correct information from car to receiver. My reckoning, it's Luca Ludwig in the car and not Luca Stoltz, but in replay then, that Lamborghini Huracan then of Christopher Zanella and Florian Spengler taking a tumble through the gravel, but is able to rejoin. 20 minutes of this GT Masters race left to run. And it's Porsche P1 and P2. And well, sure enough, just as I mentioned the transponder information, we have a message up to say that cars 84, 36 and 21 are all sending the wrong transponder position. Which I hope vindicates what I've been saying about who I think is in the car and who isn't. So, thankfully, that's being looked into. So, Christopher Mies, Kelvin van der Linde then. Two Audis together there, running in P3 and P4. We've got two Porsches at the front, running P1 and P2 in terms of Mikael Ammermuller and Alex McDowell, running in P1 and P2. So Ammermuller through, there is McDowell, and then the two Audis that we were looking at just moments ago, and the margins between those two fighting over the final podium place at the moment, with Kelvin van der Linde in the all-black car, but following that Land Motorsport Audi as they cross the timing line now. The margin between them is just 4/10. Gets ever closer then as they go into Hotel Turn. Kelvin van der Linde's brother, Sheldon van der Linde, performing this weekend as well here at Oschersleben, running in the ADAC TCR series. So a real van der Linde family concern here in Oschersleben this weekend, the South Africans. So Philip Eng then, we just saw the BMW right at the back of the picture there, is running in P10 with Christian Engelhardt running in P9 in that all-green Lamborghini run by the Grasser Racing Team. And there it is, the number 63 car. Same driver pairing as last year with Rolf and Eichen and Christian Engelhardt in that car. 18 minutes remain. The Precoat Porsche of Sven Muller and Robert Renault. Sven Muller in the car at the moment, and it is P8 at the moment for that car. Lights being flashed furiously by Philip Eng behind Christian Engelhardt, but Philip Eng not quite close enough yet to make a move on Christian Engelhardt, but it's going to liven up, I think. There is Sven Muller then in car number 99. So let's watch this battle between the Lamborghini Huracan and the BMW M6 GT3 car as they round turn number 14 now and head towards the hotel turn. Turn number 1. Is Philip Eng going to be close enough to try an inside dive on the Lamborghini Huracan? Well, he certainly goes to the inside now, but the Huracan has got the grunt down the straight. That's for sure, and he's just able to deny the BMW M6, which is being driven by Philip Eng. So it was good to be able to watch that as it all unfolded. Just beginning to wonder whether car number 36 is going to come under some pressure. Alex McDowell as well, because getting ever closer is Christopher Mies in the Audi, and we're on board with Christopher Mies now, looking back at Kelvin van der Linde, and van der Linde is getting ever so closer to Mies. So whilst Mies is trying to attack the Porsche in front, he's very conscious of the fact he's got to defend from the Audi that's behind as well. Just under 17 minutes of the race remaining. And whilst all that goes on, of course, it does mean that McDowell is able to just get up the road, and Mies is having to really more focus upon the defending position than the attacking position at the moment. Trying to buy into that as well will be the number 2 car of Christopher Haas as well. You can just see in the distance in another Montoplast by Land Motorsport Audi R8 LMS. He's running in P5. So again, just taking a look at the inside to harry the P3 car ahead is Kelvin van der Linde, the car that we're looking at right now, the all-black fronted machine. Kelvin van der Linde, of course, previous champion in the ADAC GT Masters. He's teamed up with one Mr. René Rast. What a lineup that proved to be in that particular year. So we're on board with Christopher Mies looking at the hard-charging van der Linde car. So Mikael Ammermuller has extended his lead right at the front by, it's up to the margin now is 5.2 seconds between Ammermuller and Alex McDowell running in P2. On board with Philip Eng now, who's chasing down the Lamborghini Huracan. Eng and Engelhardt, of course, battled together in various Porsche one-make championships in the past. Both hugely talented racing drivers. I do think the Schnitzer Motorsport lineup of Ricky Collard and Philip Eng is going to be one to watch as the season develops. Van der Linde, for my money, not quite as close to Mies as he has been on previous laps. But now, as Mies runs just a little wide off the back of the hotel turn, that allows Van der Linde to get just a little bit closer. Alex McDowell, then, who is running in P2, is untroubled at the moment. And the reason he's untroubled is because Mies is having to defend from Kelvin van der Linde. Trying to lend some Land Motorsports support, though, is Christopher Haas, who's getting ever closer to Kelvin van der Linde in P5. So that black Audi that we can now see and almost feel is right in the middle of that Land Motorsport sandwich at the moment. So van der Linde is more than keen to get past the Mee's car, but hasn't been able to do it so far. Once again, as they cross the sector timing line, takes another look at the inside. There isn't an overtake on at that particular point in this circuit, but he was going to have a look nonetheless and did so. Running in P7 is Luca Ludwig, former champion, of course, in ADAC GT Masters. So much talent littered throughout the grid in this Super Sports Car League. All the information, adac-gt-masters.de. That's the website to go to, and as I mentioned at the program preamble, plenty or complete English translation across the entire website, so do check it out. Let's go back on board with Philipp Eng then, who's running in P10. Is desperately keen to move further up the order, and the thing stopping him from doing that is the really rather big Lamborghini ahead of him, which is being driven by Christian Engelhardt. There's Luca Ludwig, we were just talking about, running in P7, and there is Engelhardt running in P9 with Philipp Eng P10. So the final points paying places. Sven Muller running in P8 in the Porsche there. And there then is Philipp Eng, new to this series, the BMW M6 GT3 car, engineered by Schnitzer Motorsport. Charlie Lamb, the man responsible for so doing. And there are the margins between Engelhardt and Eng over the last 3 laps, as you can see. So, as I mentioned, the BMW M6 looked really, really good in free practice. Didn't quite get it all together in qualifying. But both Ricky Collard and Philipp Eng have worked their way back from their P10 starting position to be back into that position, which is where they started. Did drop quite a few places at the beginning of the race, but have regained those back again. All very much a learning curve for this new driver combo and new car as well. Out here on the Oschersleben circuit for round 1 of the ADAC GT Masters. Tomorrow, it'll be the 150th ADAC GT Masters race, so may well be some champagne sprayed as we see Ricky Collard there looking on. Be some champagne sprayed at the beginning of the race as well as at the end. We're just under 11 minutes away from the end of this, the first of the races for 2017. Emma Muller leads then from McDowell in P2, then it's Mies, Van der Linde, and it's Haas, Ash, Ludwig, Sven Muller, Christian Engelhardt, and Philipp Eng. There is our P2 driver, Alex McDowell, who's untroubled at the moment, but is some 5 seconds adrift of the race-leading car of Michael Ammermuller. Deal was done in the pit stops, truthfully. That's when the overtake happened. So another lap completed as we cross the timing line now. Into turn number 1, the hotel turn. Van der Linde now, any moment, is going to have to turn his attention away from attacking Christopher Mies to defending from Christopher Haas, because slowly, 10th by 10th or 100th by 100th, Haas has been getting ever closer. There's Connor De Filippi, who looks on in the garages. And they're leading that little gaggle, if you like. From P7 to P10 is Luca Ludwig. Trying to buy into that now is the number 24 car. Keep an eye on the Audi that's running in P11. That's driven by Marcus Winkelhock, who's no mean driver, that's for sure. And sniff the opportunity of a point. There you can see the car into the picture now. So Philipp Eng, if he's going to find a way past Christian Engelhardt, will be well aware of the fact that he needs to find the hurry up here. Sebastian Ash, driving for the BWT Muka Motorsport. Really fighting hard there with the steering wheel, son, of course, of Roland Ash. So around turn number 14, There you can see the all-orange Audi of Marcus Winkelhock for BWT Muka Motorsport, now very much in the picture. Still, it remains unchanged there, as you can see, for Ps 3, 4 and 5, as Mies continues, as we go on board with him, to hold off Van der Linde, who's, let's say, having to now focus on Christopher Haas, who's right behind him. So the South African very much in the middle of that sandwich. Tyre degradation now, because we've got just under 8 minutes of the race remaining. So there is our P2 car. There's P3, 4 and 5, who've all broken away, and the battle for the remaining points-paying positions rounded out here with this gaggle of cars. So Luca Ludwig, the first one of those, then it's Sven Muller. And then it's Christian Engelhardt and Philipp Eng in the BMW in the P10 place at the moment. We're back on board now with Christopher Mies, looking back at the Kelvin van der Linde Audi, which is running in P4. On board with Philipp Eng then, who in his rear view mirror will be aware of the fact that all of a sudden, for company, he's got Marcus Winkelhock breathing down his neck. It's not quite on him yet, but he's not far away, and certainly can do some damage in the final 6.5 minutes of this race. On board with Christopher Mies then, jumping over the curbs through the chicane, trying to reel in the Porsche of Alex McDowell, which is running in P2. But quite a margin between McDowell and Mies of some 2 seconds, which over the remaining 6 minutes of this race, barring any mistakes from Alex McDowell, Mies is going to have to find something from somewhere to try and reduce that gap sufficiently. Philipp Eng a little bit further away, as we see out goes the number 22 car of Patrick Heisman and Remo Lips. That's out and in the gravel, and where that car is situated, we could see, for the 3rd time of asking, the safety car. So a big, big lock-up, sideways. And, well, the car is in the gravel. It's been in the wars this weekend as well, with a fire in the pit lane during a free practice session yesterday. And now it's in the gravel, so yes, safety car has been deployed. Now, what this means is, if that car can be recovered very, very quickly, what a phenomenal finish to this race we could have. Now, we've only got 5 minutes left on the clock, sadly. But if the recovery team could get that car out of the gravel very, very quickly, because all the cars are now going to be bunched up together, and it will be a real fight, a fraught fight to the finish, if they can get that car recovered in the time. Not absolutely convinced that they're going to be able to, unfortunately. So the safety car will pick them up, and that will mean that all that good work that Mikael Ammermuller has done in building a 5.2 second lead over Alex McDowell will count as 0. It'll be Ammermuller, McDowell, Mies, Van der Linde, Haas, Ash Ludwig, Sven Muller, Engelhardt, Philipp Eng and Marcus Winkelhock, all thinking that they're going to be able to take advantage of that. But, and here is the big but, not absolutely convinced they're going to be able to recover that car in the time, and just have a feeling that this race could finish behind the safety car, which would be a great shame. Because with just even a minute left on the clock, by Gemini, what a finish to the race it would be. So Mikael Ammermuller, that we're on board with right now, you can see the recovery truck being sent to that car now, so we live in hope that that number 22 car of Remo Lips and Patrick Heusman, the MRS GT Racing Nissan GTR Nismo GT3. If that can be recovered very quickly, and in fairness, they're on the scene much quicker than I expected, then this could be a phenomenal finish to the race. Well, let's see. Heard what I was saying, didn't you? Right. On board with Amar Muller, behind the safety car. Instant recovery underway, 3 minutes on the clock. Well, one thing that the ADAC GT Masters does deliver in bucketfuls is drama. And the drama in race number 1 is not over yet. There is Sebastian Ash in the number 26 car, running in P6. You're thinking P5 is mine, P5 is mine. Well done to the team for recovering that car. We've got 2 minutes left on the clock. What is the potential? 1 racing lap, perhaps? So, the conclusion of this safety car lap. Will the cars be allowed 1 more racing lap? And my goodness, how exciting is that going to be with all these cars bunched back up together again? Philippe Eng then behind the Lamborghini. So the safety car is now going through turn number 3. So there's another 11 blooming turns for the safety car to go through before it, well, 10, because of course it wouldn't do turn number 14. But even so, we are going to get at least a lap, aren't we? Surely. Well, confirmation, safety car is going to come in this lap. The lights are still flashing on it, but we've got the information on our timing screen to say that the safety car is coming in this lap. So that means we are going to have a real fraught fight to the finish of this ADAC GT Masters race, where, truthfully, any one of the top 10 places potentially up for grabs now, because all the cars are bunched back up together. Calming words being offered over the team radio. So Mikael Amar Muller then leads, and it will be his responsibility to back them all up. So we have a back-marking Audi in that mix, just to add some more drama to it. That's the so Amar Muller goes for it. And we got 1 racing lap to come then from the ADAC GT Masters then. In race number 1, the back-marking car gets out of the way, and now the Land Motorsport has a go at Kelvin van der Linde. And also up the inside goes Luca Ludwig, look, from P7, trying to wrestle away P6 from Sebastian Ash, his teammate from last year. The 2 cars locked together. Also trying to buy into that, the Porsche as well. Philippe Eng trying to find a way past the Engelhardt Lamborghini car. There's the back-marking Audi. And Eng is right on the back of the Lamborghini Huracan, but equally Markus Winkelhock is right on the back of Eng as well. Van der Linde defending for all his worth. So the order then is Amar Muller, Then it's McDowell, P1 and P2. Then it's Mies, then it's Van der Linde, then it's Haas. Then it's Ash. Ludwig then just ahead of the Lamborghini, because Sven Muller advantaged over that as they round the final turn. The checkered flag waves and the win goes the way of Emma Muller. From McDowell, P2, Mies is P3, Van der Linde P4, Haas P5, Ash is P6, P7 is Muller, P8 Ludwig, Engelhardt P9 and Philipp Eng P10. So wasn't quite as dramatic a finish as I thought it might have been in the circumstances. Whew. So ADAC GT Masters race 1 done. And Michael Ammermuller and Matteo Jaminet then the winners for KUS Team 75 Bernhard. It's Alex McDowell and Klaus Bachler that will take P2, and P3 goes the way of Conor De Filippi and Christopher Mies. But the winner then is the number 17 Porsche there of Michael Ammermuller. And a race punctuated with safety cars, as is so often the case in ADAC GT Masters. There was drama right till the very end of the race, but it's perhaps not quite as dramatic as we imagined that it could be towards the end, particularly with a one-lap dash for cash to come following the safety car. But all the drivers keeping their heads, thankfully, and with a backmarking car in the mix as well. There could have been all sorts of dramas, but there wasn't. And cars will be making their way now back to the pit lane, and all the podium celebrations. Incidentally, Philipp Eng, who finished in P10, joining us in comms hopefully for the next ADAC Formula 4 race. So we'll spend our time talking about this race as much as the ADAC Formula 4. Suspect, but of course we won't. We'll focus on the track action, but the track action for Michael Ammermuller was supreme, and here he is once again taking the checkered flag to take win 1 in season 2017, going the way of KUS Team 75 Bernhard. And confirmation of the order then, Jaminet, Ammermuller, then it was Bachler, McDowell, De Filippi and Mies, then Pommer and Van der Linde, then it was Schmidt and Haas and Mucker and Ash, Renauer and Muller, Luca Stolz and Luca Ludwig then finishing P8. Real valiant effort from Luca Ludwig in the final stages of the race. Rofeneich and Christian Engelhardt finished P9. Then it was Ricky Collard and Philipp Eng that take the final points-paying position, P10, with Salacado and Winkelhock and Ortmann, Stippler, Perez, Kompank and Bortolotti and Mappelli and Siedler, Doncher, Kirchhofer, Assenheimer and Maximilian Goertz rounding up P16, and the rest of the order on screen in graphics, as you can see. So the congratulations, as I mentioned, the driver change, the tall and bespectacled Michael Ammermuller, who has so much Porsche racing experience and single-seater racing experience, come to that as well, and has really carved out a fine GT racing career for himself, and well, sets 2017 off in the right way by taking the win. And Matteo, his teammate, well done to that KUS Team 75 Bernhard. It was Conor De Filippi, we could just see in the left-hand side of the picture there. Waiting to congratulate Christopher Mies. So, there we can see just to the left Conor De Filippi, but right there is Jaminet and there's Conor De Filippi and Christopher Mies then. Mr. Land very happy with the performance. So following the attention of the media, the cars will of course be heading up to the, the drivers rather than the cars will be heading up to the podium for the podium celebrations, and another ADAC GT Masters race to come tomorrow, and it will be the 150th ADAC GT Masters race, so a real milestone to come tomorrow. And if the race is anything like as dramatic as today's was, it'll be a good one, that's for sure. All the information, do check it out, ADAC-GT-Masters.de, with full English translation on that website for you to find out everything you'd like to know about the ADAC GT Masters. The cars, the teams, the personalities, the brilliant lineup of both cars and drivers in the Super Sports Car League for 2017. Really promises to be a supreme season. So the media requirements and responsibilities continue down there in the Parc Ferme area with the top three. And now the engineers set to work to set the cars up for qualifying for tomorrow. Always the case with ADAC GT Masters, qualifying on the same day as the race. So whilst they'll have gleaned lots and lots of data from today's qualifying and today's race, it's a new day tomorrow. Weather forecast is set to be very much the same as today. Dry, quite cloudy, hopefully a degree or two warmer than it is today. And all of that will be taken into consideration, of course, by the engineers as they set the cars up for the qualifying session tomorrow, and race 2 to come tomorrow as well. The 150th ADAC GT Masters race. So the top 10 then. Ammermuller, and then it was McDowell, P2, Mies, Van der Linde, Haas. And then in P6, it was the number 26 car of Sebastian Asch, who this year teaming up with Stefan Mucker. P7 was the number 99 machine of Sven Muller. And then it was Luca Ludwig, P8. P9, Christian Engelhardt with Rolf Eichen. And P10, Philipp Eng and Ricky Collard taking the final points paying place. So the drivers then, as you can see, heading off to the podium now. We'll bring you that podium ceremony in full. And with a sense of anticipation, we'll be looking forward to the ADAC GT Masters Race 2 to come tomorrow. Something else that can always be gleaned from ADAC GT Masters as the 1, 2, 3 line up for their photos, first of all, is that whatever the form guide suggests has happened today in race 1, that's no guarantee to what's going to happen tomorrow in race number 2. What? Oh, come on. Colin De Filippi and Christopher Mies not taking part in that. That's a bit naughty, really. You could have raised your arms just a little, I think. However, they chose not to. Right, it's quite a stomp from here to the podium, but that's where they're heading right now. And thankfully, our cameraman doing exactly the same as well. Most of the conversation, of course, in German, so we can't hear too much. Into the podium pre-preparation room. Turn left. Up a further set of stairs. As I say, it is quite a stomp from down there in the pit lane up to the podium, but bringing you all that action as well. So there to the very left is the big paddock area here at Oschersleben as the drivers make their way towards the podium, which is kind of centrally located in this grandstand and paddock building. And there, all the trucks lined up in the paddock. Refreshments on the left corner if you fancy nicking an apple there, but he chose not to. So there we are into the pre-podium room. podium ceremony underway in just a few moments. And of course, we'll bring you all of that. You can see Ricky and Philipp Eng in there as well. Philipp Eng then, who was to the left of the picture just a moment ago. Carrera Cup and Super Cup former champion. Ricky Collard been a fine single-seater racer and has been picked up by BMW and is one of their junior team, hence why he's being teamed up with Philipp Eng in the ADAC GT Masters. I'm told Rob is here this weekend, Ricky's father, the man that races BMW in the British Touring Car Championship. So they're the three cars then, and the podium is just a few seconds away. You can see the engineers and pit crews assembled just below the podium. Really belies the distance, truthfully. It's much further than you think. And we'll get all the drivers out on the podium shortly, and the podium celebrations underway. We still have lots more racing to come here at Oschersleben today, though, with second race of ADAC Formula 4 to come, as well, of course, as the hugely successful ADAC Touring Car Series as well. And ADAC really have got a fantastic package of motor racing, and ADAC forming very much, ADAC Formula 4 forming very much part of the pyramid, if you like, of young drivers moving up. In fact, we've got some former Formula 4 drivers in the GT Masters now, and a very interesting part of the publications over the course of the weekend is just making note of all the drivers that have started in junior ADAC series that have become huge motor racing superstars, the likes of Pascal Wehrlein and Sebastian Vettel. And one that really surprised me, and I never realized that he started his career in ADAC junior formulas and now very much a team owner, is Christian Abt. Didn't realize that, so full of surprises that was, but remarkable success story the ADAC has in terms of motorsport, and the GT Masters is very much a part of that, and we're about to see the podium for the first ADAC GT Masters race of 2017. Here, confirmation once again of the results and the points now. Ammermuller and Jaminet then on 25 points. McDowell and Backler take 18. It's 15 banked for Mies and De Filippi, and 12 points for Kelvin van der Linde and Marcus Pommer for their P4 position. And then it was Haas and Schmidt and Ash and Mucker, Muller and Renault, Ludwig and Stoltz then, with the final points-paying position, as I mentioned, going the way of Philipp Eng and Ricky Collard, and just ahead of them were stalwarts of last year, Christian Engelhardt and Rolf Nijken as well. As you can see there, Patrick Simon and DTM legend alongside him. But I can hear our Bernd Schneider, that was, of course. I can hear our announcer on the podium, who's about to bring the drivers out onto the podium. Matteo Jaminet and Michael Ammermuller then make their way onto the podium. So 7 foot tall Alex McDowell and not that, Klaus Backler. So Christopher Mies and Conor De Filippi then.
So dürfen wir zum wohlverdienten Lohn der Arbeit übergehen. Und Hermann Tomczyk, der ADAC-Sportpräsident, darf die Trophäen überreichen an die Laufsieger.
So to make the trophy presentation, the sport president from the ADAC, Herman Tomczyk, father, of course, of Martin Tomczyk. And there the P1 trophies presented. Hans-Joachim Stuck then makes the trophy presentation to McDowell and Backler then. And the P3 presentation, Ulrich Kramer then makes the trophy presentation to Connor Di Filippi and Christopher Mies. And Philippe Ritter then, the brand manager of Stetina, makes the trophy presentation to the Team 75 Bernhard team. So as the dignitaries make haste their exit before the champagne is sprayed, drivers will all get together for photographs first and foremost. No, they won't. They're going to go for it now. So there we have it. The ADAC GT Masters Race 1 of 2017 is done and dusted. Please make sure you join us for race number 2, the 150th ADAC GT Masters race tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.